Hey YouTube, how you doing? Kevin here again. This is part 2 of the non-starting. I ran out of space on my SD card, so I had to do part 2. This is part 2. Okay, I was talking to you about points when I left off, and about the tip. So here's my tip for you. After you get these points cleaned up, okay, you're going to do about 4 to 5 strokes up and down, and then check it for spark. If you have to go more than 4 to 5, what you're going to want to do is what do you call it there? If you have to go to more than 4 to 5, you're going to want to gap your plugs, okay, and gap your plugs. What am I talking about? Gap your points. Okay, you can do all this from the window on the rotor, and that right there will help you with get your spark back if you have points ignition. Now, if they're really bad or they're shorted, that's not going to work. However, normally if the bike's been sitting, you just be able to clean up your points and re-gap them. And it's also good practice to re-gap while you're in there, because you already got the bike apart, so you might as well do a clean and re-gap. But I have all that information on a video on my YouTube channel about points ignition. In fact, the rotor looks just like this because that's the one I used in my video. So that'll take care of your ignition, and then we'll say you get your spark. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, please revert to that that video on that. So now we're going to say we got spark, but the compression feels really low. So we take the spark plug out. I already removed it right there. We got to find out, because this right here, when you go to kick it over, kind of weak. There's like no compression to it. You can almost do it by hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a compression gauge. This is what it looks like right here. The book says it wants you to do a compression test after the engine's been warmed up, and you're going to kick it 5 times, and you should have about 160, 170 psi of compression. All right. Let's take a quick peek here. I had that information for you. Let me get right back to you. Okay, now, if you are working on a Ke100, which is what I am, you should be at 105 to 164 psi on the compression, and that is fully warmed up after 5 kicks. If you have a KC100 or a KH100, you're at 111 to 172 psi. That's your specification for you right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to check that. My bike is not warmed up. My bike is cold. I would say anything over 90 psi would run your bike just fine. Okay, just to get it running when it's cold. So what I do is I measure up. I got this. This is a big kit right here. It's got long plug. If you put that in there, you could damage your piston. Okay, so you want to match up the one closest to your bike, which would, for me, would be this one. Take it, screw it into your spark plug hole. So I might have a hard time doing that, holding the phone and doing that as well. Okay, I got that all set right there. I'm going to bring that around so it's out of my way. I'm going to hook this up to my compression tester. Alright, I put you on my tripod for right now, so I didn't have to hold you and do that. Okay, so basically the engine would be warmed up, and you're going to kick it over. And it says 5 times, so let's see what we got. Give it firm kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoop. That didn't hold. Normally it holds. It got a detent on it. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Normally that doesn't let the air out. Okay, so it looks like I'm at about 160 cold. That also probably has to do with a high compression head that's on here. So, cold, I have about 160. Let's see, 160, 170. Yep, it goes in tens. So I have 160 psi on there. So I go over to my book. That's cold, not warmed up. And I'm supposed to have, when it's warm, 164. So I am actually in the realm of the KC100 and the KH100, but that's also because this bike right here actually has a high compression head, so a tighter combustion chamber. Your KE100 will be lower, just because I got a different head on there. So with that said, that's pretty nice. That's nice to see that. And this is actually a good thing to do, because you can do this and check your integrity of your motor. And that basically means that my cylinder is pretty tight. So I have good compression. I've got spark, and I got fuel going down to my carburetor. But this damn thing won't start. What the hell is going on with my bike? Well, I did have bad fuel in it, old fuel. I mean, the fuel's been like 60 days plus. Well, I wonder if that could do it. Absolutely could. Here's what happens when you do that. There's a carburetor right here. Okay. And this is your main jet. It's your pilot jet right inside there. You can't really see it too well with my video, because my camera is on a cell phone. And I could have a stuck float. I may not be even getting fuel into my carburetor. I could have so much gum in here that this float won't even let fuel into the cylinder. I mean into the float bowl. There's the float bowl right here. Oh, it's got some debris in it, or debris. That stuff right there can float up and clog my jet. Well, that's most likely my problem. So I'm gonna have to clean my carburetor. My jets are plugged. What am I gonna use to clean my jets? Wow, those holes are really small. I'll spray them down with carburetor cleaner, but I don't know. We'll see if I can pull them out and see if I get light through them. Oh, I don't have light through them. How do I clean them? I'm gonna have to pull them back out again. See what I can do. So after you clean your carburetor, and you want to know a cool tool to clean your jets. You heard of cool your jets. We're going to clean your jets. I'm going to go grab it and I'll show you what I use. These are torch cleaning tips. You know the tip of a cutting torch? These are the cleaners for them. And these are here. The smallest one is missing on here. This is an old junk set, but they come in really small, fine sizes. Now these are good and they are very bad. And I'm going to tell you why they're good and why they're bad. 1, they will clean your jets. 2, you'll do a very good job. You'll be very impressed with them. What's the downside to them? The downside to these is if you have a, if you're doing your carburetor and you keep cleaning them with these, the same carburetor, these are like a file and they will open up a jet. Okay, if you are not careful and you keep going in and out of your jet, you can actually change the angle of the spray of fuel coming through the jet. Okay, so your jet may not be spraying properly. If you go at an angle, you want to go straight into them, straight in and out. These are here. I've seen people use these right here, and they will take a jet and open it up, and then the bike will run kind of poorly. So you can use this to clean them. Just be careful, okay? Don't go freaking dramatically in and out of them like, you know, like a madman. Take your time, go through them, clean them up nicely, and They work good if you do them that way. If you're excessive with them, they will wear out your jet. And that right there is pretty much gonna do it for this. So we're gonna recap on this one more time. Hopefully this helps you out. And there's one more thing we're gonna check too, which is a very common problem, and it's very overlooked. Okay, sometimes mice need a home. Mice have been for years, many years, since the evolution of the mouse, a rodent. Rodents are just trying to live like everybody else. They have a right to live because they are needed. Why is a rodent needed, you ask? Well, they feed our hawks, they feed our eagles. They're a great snack for a snake. They're very low on the food chain, and that's what they come in handy for. People have them in the house as pets. Kind of, I don't know, each to their own. But they are very sly. They are very, they can collapse their bodies to fit into a very small, tight spot. And if you are not careful, they can make their home in your air filter box. See, just when you think I touch base on everything, there's something else. Now right here is a nice place for a mouse to walk up and climb in here. That's your air filter intake right there. All your air goes in here and fills up inside there. A mouse does not care about an air filter. It will eat through an air filter. I've showed you. In fact, let me show you something. I have had a mouse recently. I had a camper out back, and in the camper was a what do you call it there? A stuffed animal, and it took the stuffed animal apart. You can see parts of the nest right here. Right there. See all that cotton right there? That's all mouse nest. Okay, and they built that inside of an air filter housing on one of my bikes. So they are pretty, in fact, I've got like 2 or 3 videos on my thing. I got one on an MB5. I have one on the Suzuki Intruder. It shows you the air filter. I mean, they'll chew right through it. And so if you want to check those videos out, you'll see the damage that a mouse will do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our number 4 screwdriver. See, you guys thought I was all done with the diagnostics. Oh no. This is the last part right here. I wanted to show you this. As maintenance, you should always check your air filter. It's one of those things where it comes in handy. I have a UNI air filter for the great people over at UNI making air filters for bikes that are very hard to get air filters for nowadays. They make a good quality filter, and that's why they're on my bike. If you see a sticker on my bike, it's because I use their product, and I give a shout out. So that right there is my UNI air filter. Okay, they can get, look at, see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but let's see if I can come back here a little bit and expand the video. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but there's a big hole right there. Let's see if you can see my finger. Oh, let's see. You see my finger wiggling? Yep, look at that. Look at that. See if I can put it up there. There you go. You can see my fingernail. Well, where is it? Right there. See it? That's my finger being up. I'm gonna collapse the video a little bit more, yeah. Like that. Ready? I'm just trying to show you. What's it right? I know the lighting sucks. But you can see my finger wiggle inside there. A mouse could easily get into that air filter assembly like fast, like nobody's business. Okay? And it's not going to take a whole lot of effort. This air filter is opened up. Now what I do during the winter is, of course, I take my whole air filter off. That goes in the house, and I have a plug that goes over these. That's how I do them. But you definitely want to check that and make sure you have no air filter. Now it ain't gonna matter to you when you take this cover off right here. You're gonna get plenty of air when you go check your carburetor. However, if this is a sealed up, you have a gasket here, you got your plug in the front, you got your plug at the bottom, and there's a grommet in there. So this is a sealed air box. That's why it's designed like this. That's for airflow. Okay, when you have your airflow coming through there, you're good to go. However, if you have a mouse nest in there, your engine's not going to breathe. So keep that in mind when you go and check your stuff, because it is very common to have a mouse on a bike that's been sitting for a long period of time. Luckily I use this bike religiously, and if you use them religiously, they don't like to touch them. Not to mention I keep nests. Not nests, traps. So hopefully this video right here helps you with some of your diagnostics and what to look for. My goal for this video is to help you and use this video as a reference if your bike does not start or you cannot get it started. I know some of my questions at the beginning, like how much fuel is in it, is how old is the fuel, has the bike been sitting? They sound like stupid questions, but when you're doing a diagnostics on a bike that's not running, you don't know what the problem is. So you have to eliminate things through the process of elimination. And that's my goal for this video, was to help you find out what actually is your problem with the bike. If I can help you diagnose your problem, then that's a win-win for all of us. Because nobody wants a bike that's just sitting there and they can't ride it, you know? There's no fun in that. And really, in theory, you need three things. You need intake, compression, and power. Spark. If your bike runs and it has hesitation and all that else, well, that's a different video. I'm trying to get you to the point of getting your bike actually running and starting. Another thing I also wanted to stress, since I'm doing this video, is preliminary checks. Before you trail ride, before you get on your bike, and you should do this at least once a month, and one of these every time you check it out. Always check your oil level. I can't stress this enough. Check your oil. Make sure you get oil in there. Especially if the bike has been sitting, you want to check your oil and make sure you have oil in the bike. The other thing you want to do is check your tube and make sure your vent tube, I don't really like mine having come down like that. I'm going to leave mine up like this. Make sure it's not crimped and can vent properly. Okay? Because that tube right there, that tube gets dirt in it or water. See, I got dirt in mine. See, that's got to be cleaned out. That's probably because I just pulled it up. But I like to have my tube nice and clear, because that right there allows oil to flow into your oil pump. On these bikes right here, they flow underneath, so they get dirt and crap in there all the time. And this is a vent. Okay, this is not an actual oil tube, this is a vent tube. And I'm actually going to cut mine back here so it vents under the seat. This is kind of a bad design. It really honestly is. The reason why I say it's a bad design is because the tubes come up from your oil tank off the top and up underneath here. Well, what's right here? Your tire. So you're kicking all the dirt into your freaking air tube. So I'm actually going to cut mine back. I'm going to cut mine so it vents underneath the seat. See right here, it comes up right from here. Right from this nipple. Right there. Which also looks crimped. It is crimped. See, that's not good. See, this is why we check this stuff. When it gets crimped, it can't properly vent. Yep, it's got a kink in it right there. I can feel it. So, I mean, obviously it's venting because I'm getting oil. But, yep, that's something to address. I'm actually going to cut mine back a little bit and vent it underneath the seat as opposed to underneath. Just a little bit more maintenance stuff, you know? Because that's what I'm all about. Maintenance is key. If you want to have a bike that's going to last you a long period of time, do your maintenance. Do your preliminary checks before you ride the bike. because that right there, checking that out, if I took this bike on a long haul, I could have burnt it up. And for what I have to do to check it, I'd rather just check it. So I'm going to pull that tube out. This tube is hard as a rock. So I might just take this tube out and replace the whole damn thing. They're easy. Oh yeah, this tube is as hard as a rock. Look at this. It's like memory foam. I'm going to replace that today. I'm going to do that right now, actually. And you also want to have a clear tube up there so you can see any debris in it. That's why it's clear, not black. So you can see if there's any debris in there. And they're fairly easy to change. Good little twist and pull it out. But I'm going to replace. I have a nice one, and I'm going to replace it. So look at it. It's still moving. It's so stiff. It's still moving. Huh. Okay. Well, that's got to be replaced. So, see, that's why we check things. Anyway, I hope this video has been informational for you, and I hope that it helps, and I hope that you guys will get some knowledge out of it and what to look for. This is how I do my diagnostics. This is how I check these bikes out, and it works for me, and hopefully it works for you. And all my bikes run absolutely wonderful. I've got plenty of bikes. I have plenty of requests on videos. I have one about carburetor leaking fuel out. People just been, you guys have been great. You guys have been great with your questions. And I just did the oil on this thing. I still have a little bit more running to do on it. I have this one right here. I just got the cylinder in, which you probably saw in my other video there. This is a Kd80M. And the cylinder that's going on, this is actually 79cc. Tells you right down there, 79cc. This one's actually going to be boosted up to a 99cc or a Kd100. That way I have my 300. I got this 100, the 100 over there, and the one in back of me. And I got to put a grommet in here. So I got some stuff to do to this bike. I got some parts in for it. Like the plastic was cracked here, and it's all loose, and it's got screw marks into it. No. I got a nice one right there, and it's also missing that chain guard on the back side. And we're going to do a vent tube. I'm gonna get vents for both bikes, and I'm putting lifts on all my bikes. I got one on my Ke100, and it's absolutely awesome. So I'm gonna put a lift on this one right here. That's on the handlebars, the handlebar risers. I'm just blabbing right now. So I'll just show you. I put these lifts, these handlebar lifts on there. These things are awesome. Let's get. I went 3/4 of an inch, and it changed the way the bike rides. It literally did. So if you guys have a chance to get that, they make a 1 inch, but I'm 5'8", and that goes plenty for me. And these are the tank vents I'll be using right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll put it in my hand so you can see it. They just plug on there. And I'm getting 2 more of those. One for my yellow bike and one for the KD. So keep these. Those risers really help. They really do. So this one has the factory tube that goes up into it. I'm going to put a tank vent on this one and one on that one. These are very, very, very fun bikes. I love them. So, and then I got my project bike motor here for the 12-volt conversion. This worked out great. This is the one that is the fuel I left outside, and I got a little bit of water in the carburetor. Not the motor. Motor one's great. But I just got some in the carburetor, so I got to clean that out, because now what's happening is the float stays open a little bit and is allowing fuel to leak. Fuel leaks out to the bottom. Right out of that thing right there, the bottom of the black piece. So, anyway, as always, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helps.